I had a top 5 list, going into after the Super Bowl about the top 5 storylines of the offseason, and my bonus one that I had was I can't wait to see how the Sean Payton Broncos start to form.
Yeah.
And the 49ers lost Mike McGlinchey, one of their offensive linemen. They're a terrific offensive lineman at Denver. Ben Powers also winds up in Denver yesterday. We're hearing about receivers potentially being on the market. They're out of the first and second rounds because of the Russell Wilson deal. What is your read or reporting on what Sean Payton and the Broncos are up to right now?
Here's what's really fascinating about what Denver's doing. I think it mirrors what Sean Payton built in New Orleans for the most part, for the most of the time there. Right now, at the end, they did pay Michael Thomas, they did pay Alvin Kamara. But if you look before that, right, for his first, I would say, 13 years or so in New Orleans, what you'll find is a heavy, deep investment in offensive linemen, whether it was guys like Jari Evans, early on, or Teron Armstead, and Zach Strief, throughout. You look at the names of the guys that they were investing in over the years, and almost always, Rich, it was offensive linemen, right, on that side of the ball. Even when they paid a guy like Jimmy Graham, right, they paid Jimmy Graham, who was a great player for them. He only lasted in New Orleans on that contract for 1 year, and they traded him away. So, to me, this is an acknowledgement that they're going to be building the same way that they did in New Orleans. And if you look at New Orleans, what you'll find is the foundation of those teams is on the offensive line. And Sean Payton bet on himself and bet on his scheme that he was going to be able to identify young skill players and make it work with maybe a little less money sunk into the skill spots. And I think that kind of counters, counters perception too, right? You would think a Sean Payton team would be investing deeply in skill positions. But the truth of the matter is, if you look at the way they spent draft capital, the way they spent their money over the years in New Orleans, there was much greater investment in the offensive line, and I think that's what we saw in Denver in day one of free agency under Sean Payton.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.